Oni are a kind of yōkai from Japanese folklore, variously translated as demons, devils, ogres, or trolls. They are popular characters in Japanese art, literature and theatre. Depictions of Oni vary widely but usually portray them as hideous, gigantic ogre-like creatures with sharp claws, wild hair, and two long horns growing from the heads. They are humanoid for the most part, but occasionally they are shown with unnatural features such as odd numbers of eyes or extra fingers and toes. The skin may be any number of colors, but red and blue are particularly common. They are often depicted wearing tiger-skinned loincloths and carrying iron clubs called kanabo. This image leads to the expression Oni with an iron club, that is, to be invincible or undefeatable. It can also be used in the sense of strong beyond strong, or having one's natural quality enhanced or supplemented by the use of some tool. In addition to this, it can mean to go overboard, or be unnecessarily strong or powerful. Origins. The word Oni is sometimes speculated to be derived from the onyomi reading of a character meaning to hide or conceal, as Oni were originally invisible spirits or gods which caused disasters, disease, and other unpleasant things. These nebulous beings could also take on a variety of forms to deceive humans. Thus, the Chinese character meaning ghost came to be used for these formless creatures. The invisible Oni eventually became anthropomorphized and took on its modern, ogre-like form, partly via syncretism with creatures imported by Buddhism, such as the Indian Rakshasa and Yaksha, the hungry ghosts called Gaki, and the devilish underlings of Yenmao who punish sinners in Jigoku. They share many similarities with the Arabian jinn. Demon Gate. Another source for the Oni's image is a concept from China and Onmyodo. The northeast direction was once termed the Kimin, and was considered an unlucky direction through which evil spirits passed. Based on the assignment of the 12 zodiac animals to the cardinal directions, the Kimin was also known as the Ashitora, or ox-tiger, direction, and the Oni's bovine horns and cat-like fangs, claws, and tiger-skinned loincloth developed as a visual depiction of this term. Temples are often built facing that direction, and Japanese buildings sometimes have L-shaped indentions at the northeast toward Oni away. Enryaku-ji, on Mount Hiei northeast of the center of Kyoto, and Kanei-ji, in the direction from Edo Castle, are examples. The Japanese capital itself moved northeast from Nagaoka to Kyoto in the 8th century. Traditional culture. Some villages hold yearly ceremonies to drive away Oni, particularly at the beginning of spring. During the Setsuban festival, people throw soybeans outside the homes and shout Oni wa Soto, Fuku wa Uchi. Monkey statues are also thought to guard against Oni, since the Japanese word for monkey, saru, is a homophone for the word for leaving. Folklore has it that holly can be used to guard against Oni. In Japanese versions of the game tag, the player who is it is instead called the Oni. In more recent times, Oni have lost some of their original wickedness and sometimes take on a more protective function. Men in Oni costumes often lead Japanese parades to ward off any bad luck. For example, Japanese buildings sometimes include Oni-faced roof tiles called onigawara, which are thought to ward away bad luck. Much like gargoyles in Western tradition, Oni are prominently featured in the Japanese children's story Momotaro, and a book, The Funny Little Woman. Many Japanese idioms and proverbs also make reference to Oni. For example, the expression Oni ninuko wa Oni noko means literally, a child that does not resemble its parents is the child of an Oni, but it is used idiomatically to refer to the fact that all children naturally take after the parents, and in the odd case that a child appears not to do so, it might be because the child's true biological parents are not the ones who are raising the child. Depending on the context in which it is used, it can have connotations of children who do not act like the parents are not true human beings, and may be used by a parent to chastise a misbehaving child. Variants of this expression include oya ni ninuko wa onigo and oya ni ninuko wa onigo. There is also a well-known game in Japan called Kakyo Oni, which means hidden oni, or more commonly Kaku Renbo, which is the same as the hide-and-seek game that children in Western countries play. Popular culture. In Capcom's video game Saga Onimusha, where the protagonist wields the power of the Oni, and retells the history of Japan with supernatural elements. In Rumiko Takahashi's Urusei Yatsura, the female lead, Lum Invader, is an Oni alien depicted wearing a tiger skin bikini, and the entire alien race to which she belongs is fashioned after the classical concept of Oni. Hiroshi Aramata's award-winning, best-selling historical fantasy novel Tattoo Monogatari revolves around the exploits of an Oni who is a lieutenant in the Japanese Imperial Army. Dr. Noriko Tsunoda Rida, professor of Japanese language and literature at Ohio State University, credits the novel with raising the Oni's status and popularity greatly in modern times. Quote, Shishino Hara's manga Round no Fuan uses Oni as a main theme when the female protagonist is a descendant of a beautiful Oni queen who wants to resurrect her kind. Japanese symphonic, progressive rock band Shingetsu included a piece titled Oni in the first album. According to Akira Hanamoto, the writer of the song, the Oni depicted in this piece is more spirit-like and has no features that would distinguish it as a separate physical entity. While it appears to retain some of the grisly traits of its physical counterparts, enough to make a goat tremble, it is also revealed to be quite timid as it takes flight, apparently at the sight of a hissing cat. Takahashi's Ranma 1/2 features a story in which one of the characters, Kasume Tendo, is possessed by an Oni, causing her to behave in uncharacteristically evil ways. The Toho Project series of shoot-'em-up games has a character named Tsuka Ibuki, an Oni with a massive gourd on her back capable of producing an endless amount of sake. Legend has it that no one has seen her sober in her 700-year life. A later game in the series marked the appearance of Yugi Hoshiguma, Suika's Oni associate from a group of 4 incredibly powerful Oni that they both belong to, called the 4 Devas of the Mountains. Yugi, despite being as great a drinker as Suika while being just as cheerful, is even less of a lightweight than Suika, being able to enter into a fight without seeming intoxicated or even spilling any of the sake in her sake dish. In the Mortal Kombat universe, the denizens of the Netherrealm are called Oni, and the Oni character Dramon's right arm is replaced by a metal club. Another Oni fighter of the series is Moloch. In Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, an Oni called King Yema runs the check-in station in Otherworld, where he decides which souls go to heaven and which to hell. The Onis are featured in Season 4 of Jackie Chan Adventures. Tarakudo is the king of the Onis. There are 9 other Oni masks that when worn, the demon trapped in the masks can take over the user's well-being and able to control their own tribe of the Shadow Khan. In Hellboy, Sword of Storms, Hellboy fought a giant Oni before the final blow can be struck with the Sword of Storms. The Oni fades away so that Hellboy can break the Sword of Storms on the statue, releasing the brothers Thunder and Lightning. Kamen Rider Hibiki, the Japanese tokusatsu series, uses Oni as a main theme of the series. It tells the story about ancient battle between the Oni and the Mikamo. In another popular tokusatsu, the Ultra series, it is not uncommon for Oni to appear and battle with an Ultraman. Hyakuju Sentai Uranga Ogre Triborg is the main antagonist to fight the Gyorangas and power animals. In the popular Japanese manga series One Piece, one of the four emperors Kaido shares similarities with an Oni in both appearance and power. In Pokemon, Electabuzz shares similarities with the Oni. Saw can throw a mat to resemble the Blue Oni and the Red Oni, respectively. In the Venture Brothers Season 2 episode, I Know Why the Caged Bird Kills, Dr. Venture is haunted by a floating Oni which has followed him from Japan. In the video game Muramasa, the Demon Blade Oni are one of the various enemies the main characters battle. In Rumiko Takahashi's manga Inuyasha Oni are common yokai in the series. In the first-person shooter series Shadow Warrior, the protagonist is fighting demonic entities that bear a strong resemblance to Onis. The Oni are a form of samurai-inspired NPCs in Crystal Dynamics' 2013 video game release Tomb Raider. In the MMORPG Onigiri, the player's character is an Oni. In Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, a more powerful, unleashed, a form of Akuma is named Oni and features claws, fangs, and horns similar to classical depictions of Oni. In Yokai Watch, many of the creatures found are based on Oni. Oni themselves appear as a class of boss enemies. They are distinct between each other, but all have horns. Some also have either claws, horns, or both. In the MTV television show Teen Wolf, the Oni were a primary villain, aiding to both Noshiko Yukamura and the Nogitsune during Season 3 Part 2. In Supernatural, the rite of passage main characters Sam and Dean Winchester along with Bobby Singer visit a town where an Oni is present and try to defeat the monster. In the video game Tokiden Kiwami, the main character is called a Slayer, or demons that hunt demons, and the character's main purpose is to defend the village from a variety of Oni. Bibliography: Mizuki, Shigeru, Mujera 3, Kinky Hen, Japan, Soft Garage, p. 29, ISBN 4861330068. Sho Yoshitsu Onikan.